Hey, well-read baddies. Welcome back to another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
And we're back on having our shit together.
Says who? Look.
She said according to who? At least for the sake of like recording purposes. Because you know, last
Sunday?
Yeah. And we were like dying.
I mean, let's not get excited because you're going out of town. Things are happening again.
But we're going to enjoy this one right here.
We're living in the present.
We're living in this present.
Okay.
This present.
We're back on it.
Yeah, back on it. Stay tuned. All right, let's jump in. Shout out corner. Follow us everywhere at She Well Read. We are still on the tit. I realized we haven't said the tit in a while.
People love it.
People do love the tit. That is for, if you don't know what the tit is, that is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So titty, if you will.
Titty.
We are on the titty. Yes, as I said, subscribe to our YouTube and leave comments on our videos. They make our day.
They do.
And also Amazon storefront. Y'all already know the deal of me migrating the books. It'll happen when it happens. But go to fucking bookshop, okay?
She'll let y'all know when she's done.
I will let you know when it's over. Then you can just go straight to Some of it is on Amazon though, so like still go to Amazon.
Might as well. You can see your progress in real time.
In literal, no, really, that's what it's gonna look like when people like come back and forth. That's
one
what it's
book, then tomorrow's 2 books.
Yeah. What is it? 1 fish, 2 fish,
red
fish, blue fish. Okay, let me stop. And of course, join our Patreon, which we did a little shake up of the tiers. So I mean, most of it's still the same, but the $3 tier now we are starting an exclusive email list for our well-read baddies.
That one gets you every time.
Every fucking time. Where you'll get emails from us. And you'll also get episode updates and things like that. So be sure to, it's $3 a month. That ain't nothing. That's less than a cup of coffee.
True. I mean, in this economy. Right. And you'll get your name shouted out on the show for being a patron. And the $5 tier is still pretty much the same. You get like all of that. Plus, you'll get a monthly call with us to chat it up about what's going on in our lives and what we're talking about in the book at the time. And then the new things in the $10 tier for our well-read for real peoples is that we've been trying to decide like how the mini-sode would be set up for that tier, and we finally came to a decision. We are introducing a new segment we like to call Coffee Break After Dark. Which is basically an extended version of our coffee break conversations, just in episode format. So a whole episode just talking about stuff, pop culture, what's going on in our lives, and just, you guys can also, I thought about this too. I was like, I think it'd be fun if they sent in topics that they wanted us to talk about too. Or wanted our thoughts on. Would love to see that.
Yeah. So that's for our $10 tier peeps. So go check out our Patreon. The link is in the show notes description, whatever you want to call it. Which, speaking of, let's get into today's coffee break.
Ooh, speaking of coffee.
So I wanted to talk about the Abbott Elementary season finale.
Oh my God. First of all, love Quinta Brunson.
Yes, we stand Quinta in this house.
Shout out to her. I've been meaning to read her book, Memes Well, or whatever. Memes Well,
yeah.
I had to binge the rest of season 2. I think I'd watched like half of it.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed.
Wasn't it so good?
It was so good.
Yes. But I wanted to talk about the finale episode in particular because, and this is spoiler warning if you are not caught up with Abbott Elementary, telling you that right now. We're going to get into it a little bit. But so there's this conversation of like, Janine and Gregory. Yeah. How everybody wants them to get together. It's like that slow burn type of thing.
Will they, won't they?
Mm-hmm. And in the finale, I feel like the whole season kind of led up to like, oh shit, we might actually see them like get together.
Right.
And we do see them admit that they like each other.
Which was huge.
Yeah. But then Quinta realized that, she's still got some growing to do, and like this needs to be more of her selfish era.
Which I was like, yes, bestie.
Right. But there were so many people who were upset because they were like, we just want to see them together.
Oh my God. You can't have everything you want.
You can't. I'm all like, it's only the second season.
It would be too, because then like, I don't know, realistically, I was like, they work together. Isn't that like kind of inappropriate?
I don't know. It could be. I don't know what the like teacher thing is, like if it would be considered inappropriate or if it would be like conflict of interest-y. I don't know. But I feel like I'm glad that she did it that way and is setting it up this day, because I think it's introducing a really good conversation that a lot of people aren't thinking about of what I think she's trying to do.
Wow.
And it's making people realize, like, just because it looks like all sunshine and roses, if you yourself are not ready to be in a relationship and have more growing to do and need to be in a selfish era to do that.
Yeah, no, that was so not Quinta. What's her name in the Janine? Janine. She's grown so much since the beginning of season 1, and it's been great to see her like evolution throughout her past relationships in the show. And they've been here, there, and everywhere, her and Gregory, in their own personal relationships. So I think honestly, they even if I feel like Gregory could use a little growth too. Personally, like he may not say this because he's a man, but I think that Quinta, like she just like really, or Janine really led the charge with that and was very, very mature. And the fact that they can stay friends after something like that,
right?
I think that's really big of Gregory, because I think a lot of less mature men would be like, oh, you curved me, like we're not cool for a while, like my feelings are hurt. But he didn't do that.
Right. And like we know his feelings are hurt because he had the bro moment, the bro hug. Yes.
Not 2 hands.
Yes.
Two
oh
arms.
my gosh. Why can't I think of his name? The other the Jacob.
Oh, okay, see, I wouldn't have.
Love
Jacob.
Yes, love Jacob. And, they kind of have that moment. And I also love the way they set up Jacob's character to be, like, Gregory's friend, even though Gregory, like, has been trying to avoid it this whole time.
Yeah.
But he was really there for him when he needed him and was like, dude, just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
We all need a friend like that.
Yeah. So, me personally, I really enjoyed the finale. I know there is that sense of like, I want this to happen right now. Like the slow burn that we see a lot in Bridgerton, where at least this last season of Bridgerton, where the 2 main characters that we know are going to end up together, it took forever for them to even touch. Let alone admit feelings.
I feel like it took them forever too.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
2 whole seasons.
So I'm really excited to see where she goes from this.
Yeah.
And I think it's in this day and age, it's a story that needs to be told on the screen.
That's such a good point. I think so many good things have come out of the show. So
yeah, like did you know that the worksheets that the kids are working on in the scenes are real worksheets that the kids have to work on for their schoolwork, and like the actors who play the teachers in the show actually help them with the schoolwork?
What?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Like this show has so many layers.
Wow.
Or like how their marketing budget, like they don't use it. They like donate it to other schools and teachers who actually need the money.
That one I did hear about, and it is just not many people would do that.
Yeah, their whole marketing budget.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so shout out to everyone working at Abbott Elementary, from the writers to the producers to the actors and actresses who are on the show. You're doing amazing, sweetie. And we love it here.
Truly.
And they've been picked up for season 3.
Oh, and as they should. Why wouldn't they be picked up?
Right.
Even though it's crazy out here. But yeah, I'm really grateful for that show. I've never seen, I don't know. I don't feel like I've seen like a mainstream comedy where like most of the main characters are people of color. is really different. And it feels so wholesome, and the jokes are funny, but it like makes you feel good at the end.
Yeah, very refreshing.
It is. I need more of that.
Yeah, we do need more of that. Looking at you, all the execs of all of the networks and things.
Where you
more of this?
More of what they're doing.
Yes.
Give Quinta more shows.
Yes, give Quinta more shows. Oh my gosh, she's killing it. She's killing it right now. Love to see it. All right, well, let's get into the chapter. Like, see, even then, last week we were struggling last episode.
Yeah.
We are less of a struggle bus today.
All right. Chapter 37.
Let's get into it.
This is weird. This chapter is so crazy. Like, it just gets weird from here on
You want to do it? You want to start us off?
Sure, yeah. Okay, guys. This is the first chapter where there's been like a little poem kind of. No,
yeah, it started off and I was like, hello.
Yeah, because we had no idea what the hell was happening. So it says, Mama, I promise I'll be all right. I'll call to say I love you every night. I'm just trying to write the story of my life.
And I was like, is this a song or
I need to go look up her discography.
I did.
Oh.
I listened to it while I was reading.
Oh, that's like 3D surround sound, as she said in that other chapter.
Yeah.
This really is surround sound. The sound is really surrounded.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Is it good? Because she didn't like it.
It was okay.
It was giving okay from what she said.
Yeah.
All right, guys. To clue you in, we are at the Hampton Inn and Suites in downtown Nashville, which I was like, period. That's right up there.
Right.
Because if y'all don't know this, we're in Birmingham, Alabama. And her and her mom are like listening to this final mix of her first single, everybody, because she is now working on her country music career, which, little known fact about Jeanette, she had a country music career.
A small stint in the music industry.
Yes, and they go into telling us a little bit about why this is happening. There was a writer's strike at Nickelodeon, and we do know her mom has said that Nickelodeon is nickel and dime-elodian. So I guess they're not paying people fairly, and so iCarly was put on an indefinite hiatus, which I low-key remember they stopped like putting out stuff. Yeah. And I didn't know why. And I didn't know why. Kid. Yeah. I was just like, weird. And then I remember Miranda Cosgrove had a singing career.
She did.
Sparks fly.
It's like electricity.
Look, I was like, oh, this is when she did that too.
Oh, it was around the same time. But here's the thing. I like Miranda's music way more than I like Jeanette's music. I'm so sorry, Jeanette.
Yeah, rest in peace. But I mean, I don't know who told her to do country music. Like, why of that all lane? Country. Like, did they grow up? Because, like, Miranda, like, after learning that she liked Avril Lavigne and, like, these people, I think her song makes sense with that. It's like a pop, but it's, like, a little bit edgy maybe. And that's what I got from her, like, music video and whatever. But I don't know, like Sam, I just don't see like where the correlation is. She like from a farm in the show? Is that like, why country music? Why not pop?
I don't know, but you know what I did think about? I was like, she does kind of resemble like back in that time, like kind of Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, like the blonde hair, the curliness.
Yeah, like it was giving Taylor Swift-esque. And so I was like, maybe that's why they chose country music.
It's just so fucking random because I've never heard her once talk about. Anyway, it doesn't matter because it's not. It's not like she wanted this,
right? Per usual.
Basically, her manager just suggested that they start working on music during this downtime because all the teen actors are doing it these days. Which, yes, I was like, that's a terrible manager because. Why not like curate your advice to the person?
Right. Oh, that's a great point. Because when I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, literally all of it was like is it in their contract to sing at this point? Like, because all of them were singing, even the Disney girls, like they all sung too.
Disney, I think it really was part of their contract.
Had to be.
Yeah. Like they wanted you to be a 3 whatever. Like you needed to sing, dance, and act. Otherwise they weren't signing
Triple
you.
threat.
Yeah. But for her manager to do this, I was like, fire her.
Well, because it says her manager represented Hilary Duff, and Hilary Duff had so many albums go platinum that I feel like it was kind of like, oh, this formula worked once, let's try it again.
I know, but I just hate when people are not personalizing their
right.
It's like, this is not a one size fits all type of a career path.
Yeah, but I think that happens a lot in the entertainment industry, where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and not trying to cater to the person instead.
That's so upsetting.
Which I feel like it would go way further.
Yeah.
If they did that.
Anyway. Yeah, but I guess that's why all these celebrities are starting brands now. Because it's like, that's the new thing that you do.
That's the next step.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess that's how it goes. So it's funny you mentioned Taylor Swift too, because her mom was like, her mom started having her post covers of songs on YouTube, which we all know that's how like Justin Bieber got famous and Halle and Chloe, and like it is a way to get famous.
That was like the pipeline back then.
It really was. YouTube was like that, girl. Now it's TikTok. But it's funny, like 2 people reached out, 2 record labels. One was Taylor Swift's record label, and her mom literally was like,
she was like, nah.
She was like, they're gonna be too busy with that Taylor chick. I was like, put some respect on Miss Swift's name right now.
Right.
Who the fuck are you, Deborah?
Well, even back then we didn't know, we too probably would have been like, this Taylor chick. But now that we are in the Eras Tour era, we're like, yeah, bad bitch Taylor Swift.
No, but she was, at this time, I had listened to her first 2 records. So she had blown up. You know what I mean?
That's true.
For her mom, like that,
her mom's just an ass.
She's salty.
Yeah, she's salty. She's just,
that Taylor's chick. I put Swift heart in my notes.
Sorry.
But anyway, so she signed to Capitol Records, and her mom are like prepping for their first tour, which I was like,
hello.
What?
But it was like a mall tour.
Yes.
Which I was like, oh my gosh, the era of mall tours.
That is a whole nother, like, people used to go to malls.
Yeah. right. All right. Let's take it to step 1. People used to do that.
The way that's so over now. And we like an outdoor shopping experience. Anyway.
Yeah.
But so, yes. And this is going to be the first time that Jeanette is away from her mom, just because
we're getting
there. But her mom starts crying as she's listening to this song that Jeanette describes as the rhythm being unrhythmic, the melody being one note, and the production being outdated. So Jeanette's like, it's not that good of a song. Why are you crying? And Jeanette's like, or her mom's like, you sound so beautiful. And Jeanette's like, nah.
She's like, something's off here.
And she's like, I know you're crying because you're happy face, and that's not it. And she's like, I feel like there's something deeper here. And she low-key read an email with her mom and the manager of this situation, with her mom telling the producer or whoever, manager, that she can't go on this tour because she has cancer.
Oh wait, I thought it was, she told Marcus, her brother. Like, she read an email from Marcus.
Oh, was it? Oh, see, I read Marcus and just forgot that was her brother.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure Marcus is her. Hold up.
Dustin,
Scotty.
Marcus and Scotty, something like that.
Marcus, Dustin, and Scotty. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's her brother.
Her brother and her mom were emailing, and she read this. So she knows already, but she's like, why is mom lying straight to my face right now? Why won't she just tell me the truth?
Right.
And so Jeanette just kind of has the word vomit thing happen again, where she's like, do you have cancer again? And her mom is like, ha, 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 why would you say that?
I was like, be so for real.
And then she's like, yo, I saw the email.
You can't lie to me about this.
And her mom just starts crying, and the way she can cry on cue, I'm sorry, but it's so crazy to me. But she's like, look, I don't want to miss your tour. And Jeanette's like, my tour? She's like, I'm not going on tour. You've got cancer, babe.
Right, priorities.
Right. She said, I'm going to be with you. And her mom's like upset with her. She's like, why would you say something like that? It makes me mad and scared when you say stuff like that. You have to go. You're going to be a country music star. And Jeanette says, okay.
Like, just gives in, basically, per usual.
And her mom goes back to crying, and she hugs her, and
it was just, I was just like, hello, I did not expect, like, I forgot,
that was a crazy chapter.
Yeah, I knew she had like one song, but I didn't realize she had made like a whole album.
She made a whole album?
There's a whole album.
We have to have a streaming party on Patreon, because what?
Hello. I'm so weak. Yeah. So, all right, moving on to chapter 38. This was, I'm just going to get into it because
Juicy.
She is what they are calling the Generation Love Tour, which I think was the name of either the song or the album. I can't remember now.
Okay.
So they're on the new single Generation Love. It's like a radio tour that she's doing, and they're really pushing like her iCarly like fame in order to like bleed into her like music career fame in order to like attract people to her shows, which, you know, we see she's waking up really early, like giving us like a glimpse of her on the road life. And she's like saying how the experience itself is like super overwhelming. She's performing at these malls for thousands of kids, and people are doing the thing of like associating her with her Sam Puckett character, being like, hey, Samantha Puckett, how'd you get out of juvie? Which I was like, that's kind of funny.
Good one.
Yeah, and literally to all of them, she says, haha, good one. Or they're like, where's your fried chicken? Do you really beat people up in real life? And she's like, ha.
Yeah, we're taking this shit too seriously. It's a character, y'all.
It's a character.
But I guess that's kids for you.
I mean, the butter sock was fucking iconic.
It so was. I don't know whose mind thought of that. I guess the creator. But that was
it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I will say that.
Oh my gosh.
And she even describes it as my dead soul smile spreads across my face, and I look in their cameras while their mom apologizes 15 times for not knowing how to operate it. Just kind of like going through the motion of like this fame that she never wanted in the first place and just continuously does not want.
I wish I could and I guess I could just Google a few pictures of her dead soul smile, because I guess it was like all the smiles she was doing at the time.
Any like press stuff she had, you could probably tell.
But I wonder like if you could tell if you're in person, you know what I mean? Or was she that good of an actor?
Ooh, yeah.
Because to me, a dead smile, like you can kind of see like if someone's dead behind the eyes when they're smiling.
That's so true. That's a good point.
And she's not laughing, even though she's saying, ha ha, good one. So I don't know. Maybe she is laughing. Ha! I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know. We can't. It's reading between the lines, I guess.
But she's doing this tour, and she said the first thing I'm noticing is that part of me is enjoying myself, but a part of her is also feeling guilty for enjoying herself, like being away from home under the circumstances like of her mom having cancer. So it's like kind of happy, sad moments going on. And she even says, this enjoying myself part of me feels fresh and new and exhilarating. I feel free. I'm even able to shower myself.
So we did make it. I was at least happy about that, you know?
Yeah. Like she can finally wipe her own ass.
Whew. Wow.
And she's also realizing how exhausting it is to constantly keep up this fake persona of making her mom happy by all means necessary. Yeah. And just how draining it is.
I'm happy for her that she can have this experience and realize that, you know.
It's like this great awakening almost.
Yeah. Because they've
the great awakening.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
And she even more emphasizes this and says like the ease is undeniable, and because her mom's not there to monitor and weigh in on her,
And the second thing she's noticing being on tour is that she's eating.
Ah, yes.
A lot.
Yeah.
She says, I'll eat a cinnamon Pop-Tart in the mornings, which TBT to cinnamon Pop-Tarts. I love me a good cinnamon Pop-Tart.
TBT.
And she'll eat lunch and she'll eat dinner with the band, both meals eating out, and she's ordering from the adult menu, rarely eating salads. Like, kind of just doing that teenage thing of like burgers and fries, chicken tenders and fries, which I mean, I still do that now. But like less balance. It's just like a lot of indulging in this food that she couldn't eat before.
Which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I mean, when you restrict kids, like I remember my neighbors' kids, like they couldn't eat chocolate. So whenever they came to my house, like it was like a little scary to watch them try to find all the sweets in our house and like eat the shit out of it because they couldn't do it at home.
Damn. That sucks.
It's like a very unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, it creates an unhealthy relationship when it's like, unless it's for a dietary restriction, like you literally physically cannot eat that thing. It's like, you're like, when you're a kid, you're curious already. So then like when you figure out like, oh, I like this thing that I'm not supposed to be doing, it's like you just indulge and you want more and more and more of it and you can't get enough. It's like,
yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like not an out of body experience, but just like you can't control it. I can't think of the word, but that's what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
And she's like, without being monitored by her mom, she's feeling rebellious. And every time she's eating a meal, she hears that voice, the Holy Spirit, which now she knows is OCD. And is just feeling like lust and all of these like feelings with food. Like her relationship for food right now is very much changing and shifting. And she even says the fullness she feels after meals is nice and new. Like you never feel full. Like that's crazy to never have felt full. I say that, but now I too remember the first time I felt full.
When was that?
After I stopped like, really restricting myself and actually eating. Well, I don't feel like I was there was a part of me restricting, but there was also a part of me like I just got full so fast, but I don't think I was really full. I think it was more like anxious and depression and all of that taking over, and that fullness like overpowered the fullness from food.
Oh.
So I remember what I'm saying is I remember the first time I felt full off of food after eating.
Wow.
Which is like an insane experience. So I know exactly what she's talking about.
Period.
But it's also, which I can relate to immediately, usurped by a deep sense of guilt.
Yeah, the shame that comes.
That her mom's going to be disappointed in her. And she's like eating so much, like she's indulging so much that she's getting stomach aches and like can't go to sleep because of it. So it's just this really unhealthy relationship. And she's horrified with all of the weight that she's gaining. And eventually she's going to have to see her mom. And she's like, I don't know what's going to happen when she sees me because she's definitely put on weight. So.
Yeah, this one was intense.
It was really intense. But the next one gets even more intense, 39.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of gross. Because at first I was like, oh. And then I said, oh.
Yeah. I don't like what's happening here. But, okay. So we're back in the Hampton Inn and Suites, and she is having her first real kiss. So this guy's name is Lucas, and she can't tell whether or not she likes him or not, but she does like the kiss. And she mentions that it's more natural when you actually like the person. And he says, I really like you. Have a good night. And she's like, I don't even know if he said that. Honestly, I blacked out. But she's happy she finally had her first kiss. And that she's 18. Yes, and that she's 18. So she like really wanted to have this first kiss. And she watches him walk down the hallway, but she notices a bunch of stuff she doesn't like about him. But at the same time, her vagina feels funny, and we all know what that means.
Got that tingle.
It reminds me, I think, of like, this is like weird. I don't know how to say this necessarily, but like when you are depraved or deprived of sexual experience, you are more desperate and act in ways that you may not agree with necessarily because your body just physically wants to fuck. I mean, just
like that primal feeling.
Yeah. Like she doesn't really like this dude, but she is a girl that has hormones and the kiss feels good. Like her lips on this person's lips feel good. And so she's kind of like critical of this person, Lucas. And she kind of tells us a little bit more about him. She's like, oh, he was hired to be the band leader and he played electric guitar and he's supposedly really good. But then we get into his age where she's 18 and he is 27. And so she like noticed him looking at her a lot and she was like, oh, okay, wait, I think he likes me. Which I was like, creep.
Yeah.
And she even says that by the third rehearsal day, he started offering her rides home and she started to like him too. She felt queasy around him, but uncomfortable in a good way, which butterflies. But anyway, he asked to listen to this Queen album with her. He really loves music. And she was like listening to music with him on the floor and was actually like a little bit repulsed by his mannerisms. Like he was scooting closer and like tucking his hair. He has like long hair behind his ear. And she was like, kind of like, I want him to kiss me, but I don't know if I want, like she said, I don't know if I want him to kiss me or if I just want to be kissed. And I feel like that does happen. Like I think about people I dated in the past when I wasn't confident and didn't feel like I had options, and my standards were not the standards that I have now, and it's because I was desperate.
Right, it's pure desperation.
So I related to this one, and anyway, she doesn't see him that much on tour, but he'll like fly in for a few of the big shows and he'll say things to her, but it's a little awkward because all the band's there and she's like trying to find ways to not have to talk to him. And just overall, it's like kind of an interesting situation between them.
Yeah.
And apparently now the tour is over and she's just back in Nashville to record some new songs. And this is where they are in the Hampton Suite. So it's like kind of some background. Yes. And then we circle back. So she kind of feels after the kiss that she's relieved to have the first kiss, but she also is realizing like, I don't like him. So she's like, I need to end this. And anyway, she like realizes that she's wet and that's pretty much it. She's like, that's gross and I need to take a shower. And
yeah, because she doesn't really know, like, because her mom or anybody hasn't explained like what's happening, because like how you were saying, she describes it like as an odd pulse in her vagina and it feels warm and she literally reaches to feel like the wet, like and her fingers are wet in her pants and she's like, what the fuck, this is gross, ew ew ew. Like that first experience of like, you know, and you're not really sure what's going on. It's almost like having your period but like more sexually.
True. This is coming out of my vagina.
Right. And you're like scared also a little bit because you're like, what is this normal? Like, is this okay to be happening right now? Like, hello?
I'm just like shook that she's 18 and has never felt like, I feel like I was a horny ass teenager, I guess, because every night I was feeling that feeling.
I'm so weak. Well, maybe she was just preoccupied with so much other things. And you know, they say sometimes like when you're going through eating disorders, like your sexual desires and your like libido like lowers.
So true. Like she maybe wasn't the weight that she needed to be like to get. Well, she had her period.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe it played like some part into why she wasn't as like sexually aroused and all those types of things. And so now that her mom's not there and she's having less of that, happy. She can she can tune in more to those like feelings and desires.
Wow, that's so real.
At least that's how I interpreted it. So
that's crazy, man.
It is wild. All right, moving on to chapter 40. She is walking off a plane, tugging at her shirt, trying to look as thin as possible because this will be the first time she's seen her mom in a few months. And she's like, maybe she won't notice if I keep tugging at my shirt. Like, she'll just like, be like, oh, hey, Jeanette, like everything's cool, fine, and dandy.
Which we know her mom.
Right. Like, be fucking for real.
At this point.
Mm-hmm. And she takes a deep breath. She steps on the escalator. And like, of course, there's a young dad trying to get his daughter to take a picture with her. And like, she's trying to tell him like, sure, as soon as we get off of that, he doesn't even let her finish and like immediately like positions the kids to like take a picture with her, which I think is just so like rude. Yeah. Like and it's that thing again of people seeing celebrities and like famous people as props instead of real people.
Yeah, you're here for me. Mm-hmm. Like they own you, like she was saying.
Right. And so she's looking around and she finally sees her mom, but she's looking very sickly. Mm-hmm. She describes it as her face is gaunt and sickly. Her bones protrude from under her skin. She doesn't have any eyebrows or eyelashes. She's wearing the turquoise UGG hat that she got her for Christmas to cover up the bald head. And she's shocked at the sight of her. Like, she doesn't even know what to say to her because she's just like, hello?
Yeah.
And her dad is standing there, but she's like, he might as well not be. Her dad at this point is it's a presence.
A prop.
A prop. A prop. And she just can't focus on anything. And she's like mad a little bit because she's like, we talk every day. Like, why didn't you warn me of this, of like what was going on with you?
But also, I mean, the flip side of it, they talk every day and she didn't warn her the opposite side.
That's true.
Like, why you gotta warn somebody about your weight gain or loss?
This is true.
Just so you know, I gained 10 pounds. Like, no, fuck that.
I don't know. Maybe I was thinking maybe she was thinking more of the perspective of like, because when like seeing someone go through like weight gain and loss, like, yeah, but like cancer, like looking that sickly, like maybe she was wanting her mom to be like, hey, like I've been going through chemo, so just like when you see me, just know like I'm not gonna have any hair, like
a warning,
because I think the first time she had chemo, she didn't really see her sick like that. So this is the first time of her really seeing like her own mom sick, like kind of that preparation, like almost like the preparation they do give little kids before they see like a cancer patient, like a little warning that they're like, hey, they're not gonna look quote unquote like a normal person. Like she had no idea what she was about to see.
And it's like your mom.
And it's your mom too. So it's a little even more traumatizing.
That is a lot.
So I think maybe that's that's kind of more the warning she was looking for.
Okay.
And they're exchanging hugs and I love yous, and of course her mom reacts to it's a combination, like they're both in a combination of shock and horror.
I know, it's really like a mirror situation. Where it's crazy,
it's wild,
so weird. It's a great visual though.
She's very descriptive, and she even says she feels sick to her stomach while she waits for her to tell her how ugly she is and how fat she's gotten and like how she's making horrible decisions. But they're loading all her stuff in the car and they're sitting in traffic, and then it comes and she's like, Net, what happened? She says she doesn't face me when she asks it. She stays looking out the window at the bumper to bumper traffic on the 5.
Damn.
You're getting chunky.
That's so awful. Like, you can't look at me.
Right, look me in the eye. Like, say it to my face. Like, say it with your chest if you're gonna say it.
Oh.
But then like she's like, I know, I'm sorry. And she's like, we gotta get you on your diet. This is getting out of hand. And she's like, I know. kind of like, you know, like a child who did something wrong, and she's full of remorse, but there's also a piece of her that picks up a little bit of enthusiasm and a little bit of spirit, because this is the mom she knows. Like,
yeah, and it's almost comforting.
It's almost comforting, like, she's beating me up again with her words. We're back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yeah. I guess I get that too.
Yeah, and she's like, this is the mom I know.
Yeah, and like too much change would be like, it's already so much change that like just the semblance of the sameness, like it is. I mean, even though it's fucked.
Yeah, it's all fucked.
It is nice for her. So.
Yeah, it's a nice little experience in that moment.
Yeah. Well, that one was a lot, guys. How are y'all feeling?
Yeah.
I hope you're okay over there.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
All right, and back to the ship.
We're on 41.
All right. Oh, do you mind scrolling down a little or up, I guess?
Oh yeah, this is a hard one.
This is tough. Okay, guys. I mean, we should have said we're gonna obviously label this as trigger warning the whole episode, but this one is also trigger warning. So we are at a restaurant with Nicole. Hello, Jeanette, and the creator. And the creator is basically, it starts with him saying, come on, take a sip. And Jeanette's like, no, thanks. And he's like, come on. And she's like, I've never had alcohol before and I'm only 18. Couldn't I get in trouble? And he's like, no one's looking, Jeanette. You're fine. And she's still not sure. And he's really trying to get her to try this. He's saying that the Victorious kids get drunk together all the time, and the iCarly kids are like super wholesome, and y'all need to have some more edge. So kind of like peer pressuring her in a way. And she even mentions that he always compares them to the iCarly kids. And he thinks that, I guess he thinks it'll make us try harder, which I guess gotta love comparison.
Right. But then I also pointed out, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I also pointed out when I was reading this, I was like, yeah, the Victorious kids get together and drink. They don't drink with him.
Oh.
Like it'd be different. It'd be different if the iCarlys were doing it together, like normal kids situation.
That is way more normal, yes.
Right. Like what you're trying to induce is not cool and not normal.
And he's her boss. I mean, there's so many levels to like the wrongness of
this situation, right?
And she says, I don't know if drinking is what gives people edge, which I was like, good for you. So
mature.
Right. And he's like sloshing around his cup of whiskey. He's like, one sip. Yeah. She's like, okay. So she takes the glass and she hates it. And she's like, I like it. And he's like, don't lie. I hate it when you do that. And she's like, I hate it. And he's like, that's better, Jeanette. Which I'm like, what a weird relationship that he has with his talent. So she's like, I've pleased him. Mission accomplished. This is my mission every time we get dinner, is just like to make him happy and make him think that he's really taking me under his wing. She's like, I like being his favorite for now. It feels like I'm doing something right, which he is her boss, so makes sense. And he is just kind of like, I guess, trying to stroke his own ego and is like, are you excited to have your own show? Even though I feel like he's asked her that, and probably way more times that have been in this book, but I feel like he's asked her that already several times. She's like, sure. And he's like, that's it? Which is very much similar to her mom being like, everybody wants this. And that's pretty much what he does. He's like, he's like, don't thank me. Or he's like, I could give this show to anybody, but I gave it to you. And she's like, thank you. And he's like, don't thank me. I chose you because you're talented. And it's just like the gymnastics that he's doing to like just like one up her is crazy. Mm-hmm. He's like, how do you like the steak? And she's like, it was good. But in her head, she's like, this is two-sided. It was great, but it was also terrible because I ate the whole plate and she's like on a diet. Mm-hmm. But the flavor was great.
Yeah, but she's like disgusted with herself because she ate.
Yeah, the whole thing. She ate the Brussels sprouts and the roll and the glazed carrots and the
potatoes.
All of it. So it's really upsetting. Like, she's like, I feel so full. And it's kind of this thing again where she can't control how much she's eating. Mm-hmm. And she goes into saying that she's on a Nutrisystem diet again with her mom. But they're not together as much. So it's like when she's not with her mom, it's hard for her to bring herself to eat this really disgusting food. Mm-hmm. Which, fair. And the creator asks, are you okay? And she is just like nodding and saying like basically, yeah, whatever I have to say to like make you happy. And he reaches out and places his hand on her knee and she gets goosebumps immediately. He's like, you're cold. And she's like, I don't think I'm cold because I'm cold. I think you made me feel that coldness with your creepy hands. And he's like, here, take my jacket. So he takes his coat off and he puts it on her back and he starts massaging her back. And he's saying like, you're so tense. And he's still talking to her about this damn show. Like, every kid would kill for this opportunity. We know this manipulation tactic from her mom. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're very lucky, Jennifer. And she's like, I know. And he's still rubbing her. And that's the end of that chapter.
Yeah, and even that last line when she's like, and I do know, I'm so lucky. It's almost like sarcastically being like, yeah, I'm so fucking lucky that I get to have this torture not only from my mom, but you in this pedophile ass moment of you touching me right now. Hell yeah, I'm so lucky to be in this situation. Like, bruh, read the room.
Oh.
It was gross. It was really gross. But moving on to chapter 42, because I feel like I ran away from that chapter after I read it. I was like, I don't even want to like think about this anymore. Like, it's just awful. Mm-hmm. So Jeanette's moving out. She's moving away. She's moving on up. She's of course got a new manager again, and they worked out a deal to where Nickelodeon pays for her to have an apartment close to the set. And also because her mom can't drive her, which also Jeanette doesn't know how to drive because her mom just feels like it'd be too much for her. But now like her mom can't drive her because of her cancer and it's just getting progressively worse. Mm-hmm. So she's now moving closer to set, like I said, and the whole family's like helping her move. And her mom's in a wheelchair at this point, which Jeanette's really just sad about because it's like you're knocking at death's door at this point if you need a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it's just really upset about the whole thing. But they're moving her into her first solo apartment and she's so excited. It's a fully furnished place, which her mom got it to be fully furnished since Nickel and Dimelodian is paying the bill.
Period.
And they have it set up to where somebody from her team is going to be taking her to set every day. So she's going to be fine. And so they're getting to the apartment and they're unpacking her stuff. And her mom tells her that she got her a present. And she's like, oh, you didn't have to do that. And her mom's like, I even curled it with a ribbon. And she's just being like really frail and like fragilely talking. And it like really gets on Jeanette's nerve because again, it's just like not her mom's, normal status quo. And she just wants her mom.
Yeah.
Like like toxic lovey and like this type of like you're about to die almost situation. And it turns out to be a DVD of The Sting, which is one that her mom loves, and she does too, but her mom loves him more. And she's like, her mom says, I figured we could watch it tonight after you unpack. And Jeanette's like, oh yeah, sure, that'd be great. And her mom's like, yeah. And she's like, and, I was thinking I don't have chemo tomorrow, so I could spend the night, if you want. Jeanette immediately knows what this means. This is not mom spending the night. This is mom spending every night for the foreseeable future. This is mom moving in. I don't want her to spend the night. But, of course, as she does, Jeanette tells her that she can spend the night. And she continues to spend the night for the next 3 months. And basically, this is not her first ever solo apartment anymore. This is our apartment. We are roommates.
That is so sad.
And I was like, she was so close to just a little bit more freedom.
I know. She had her day in the sun, and now
it's done.
It's back to, I mean, the thing is, I was mad at Jeanette at this point because I know she doesn't have the necessarily the skills to be there for herself, but because her mom didn't let her gain those skills. Mm-hmm. But at this point, she knows immediately what this is, and she still is forsaking her own, what she wants. Mm-hmm. I can't even blame her mom, because if Jeanette said yeah, then I'm good. You know?
It's not setting the boundary.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's she never learned how to set clear boundaries either. So she's just she knows she doesn't want this, but she doesn't know how to execute it.
Yeah.
And it's she doesn't, it's you can't grasp that idea when you have anxiety and depression and mental illness, that it's as easy as saying no. That first no is the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
Or the first time you set that boundary, it's such a huge event.
Yeah.
And you can work it up in your head to be this huge thing. Yeah. So
true.
I get it. But I see what you're I get what you're saying too. It's well, you said she could, but it's also it's that, I don't know. It's that it's hard.
It is hard.
It's rough.
But what is she, 18 now? Mm-hmm. It's about that time.
It is about that time. But I feel even because I remember being in a situation similar to this where me being 18 didn't mean shit. Me being technically an adult doesn't mean shit. Which honestly, in the grand scheme of things, kind of makes sense, because I was not an adult at 18. I was adult legally, but mentally, I was not an adult yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And her mom hasn't let her become one. So.
Yeah. She's still got her grasp. She's still that scared 8-year-old almost, in a sense.
Very true.
But mature still, but still
yes.
can revert back to those tendencies.
Oh my God. And that's very true about your parent, is you can be so mature around everybody else, and then you get around this one person. It doesn't have to be a parent, even just anybody who you have that toxic bond with, and they can just bring you right back.
Right. That traumatic kind of relationship and environment.
I know this is already all over, but I'm really I want her to be okay.
Right.
And she seems like she's in a really, I feel everything's kind of coming to fruition. Mm-hmm. It's I feel something's about to blow up.
Yeah. We're back at the top of the mountain, and we're all right, what's been happening?
Yeah.
But really quickly before we go, we did have some story questions that we're going to go through really quick. And do you want to take one, and then I can take the other one?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so this first one was a poll that if you would like to, contribute to these and be a part of this conversation, hit us up on Instagram. Be sure to watch our stories. Yeah. So this first one is, did your parents ever suffer from a long-term mental illness? And we got 40% people saying yes and 60% saying no, which is pretty interesting, because when I voted, it was more leaning towards yes than no.
Yeah. And I think it was just long-term illness, period. So it doesn't have to be mental.
Yeah. And then this was the follow-up question. I'll scroll to the question.
Yes. So this next question says, if they did you feel pressure to parent them or take care of them?
And here are the responses.
Okay, so we had a response that said 1,000% yes, But I felt the pressure to parent them before that too. It just intensified after the illness came.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Where it's like that, where it's like, oh fuck, now I have to do it like on maximum overdrive now. Because now that we know.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely relate with my mom having bipolar. It's like, I feel like I was like reading parenting magazines because I was like, hello.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah. How was it to raise my brother?
Right. And then the other question that we had was, do you remember your first kiss? And 84% of you said yes.
Everybody remembers except me.
Yeah, and 60. Oh, were you a part of these 3 votes? That 16% who doesn't remember?
I don't think I voted, but I'm part of it. Yeah, I'm 4. I'm number 4.
I'm so weak. Yeah, I was a part of the yeses. I do remember my first kiss.
I think I must have blacked out.
I'm so weak. It is one of those moments, like the first time it happened.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't like anything like grand happened, I guess it's just kind of like
It was mid.
Yeah, mid
for sure.
But to follow up for this one, if you did participate in this poll and voted, and you want to send us your first kiss story,
we'd love to read.
We'd love to read it. Feel free to DM us on all of the socials, or you can email us at shewillread@gmail.com. I'd love to read that because I know I shared my story.
We want to know.
We want to know.
I can give you one story, but no, I don't want to.
Maybe if other people send their stories, we can sneak yours in.
Okay, if y'all do, I'll do one. Okay, how about that?
Yeah. But this has been another episode of She Will Read. Thank you, Well Read Baddies, for tuning in. It never goes unnoticed. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
Bye, y'all.